There are different obstacles to recording in my apartment as opposed to in my garage. You know, in the garage, you're fighting ambient noise like the landscapers or the neighbors driving away, or maybe one of the kids next door is having a moment. You know, it happens. You know, just noise, random noises. And then you move inside for the day because, you know, your partner scheduled herself a massage appointment, and, God bless her. She needs that kind of a relaxation in her life. More relaxation is a good thing. So I get to record indoors. And as soon as I hit record, the dryer tumbled again. And I was like, oh man, I got to turn off the dryer too. Dryer, air conditioner, make sure that nothing else is set to go out. No alarms. Make sure your phone's set. Because the quality of the audio in here is fantastic. Awesome blossom. And the last thing I would want is for some noise or something to distract you, because that's what we're going to talk about today. The new DEI. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm the Trent from the title of the show, appropriately named. I am coming to you today from inside my lovely apartment, where it is a lovely 78 degrees. So, yeah. Last week I was complaining about how hot it was because it was in the mid 90s in my garage. This week, about 20 degrees cooler indoors. I'm very happy to be here. Anywho, what the hell is going on in the world? The last time I talked to you guys, there was so much shit going on Saturday or Friday that I had to record on Saturday. Ugh. This week I'm coming to you on Wednesday because reasons, it just happened to work out this way. So there's now a big military force walking the streets of Washington, D.C. They are going to do away with crime in D.C. using the military, apparently, which I always thought was illegal. I thought that the Posse Comitatus rule meant that you can't use the United States military as a domestic police force. But what do I know? Apparently, laws don't matter anymore. So, fuck it, right? That's sure what it seems like. Why the hell now? Why now? Why? What is the end goal here? What is the end game? Well, there's the obvious. There's the obvious that this is just another way to distract from the Epstein stuff, because anything to distract from the Epstein stuff. We're going to get to this in just a second. The other thing that's happening is far, 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 far more nefarious. And that is, we have an administration who is now attempting to get us used to having these military forces on the streets of major American cities. I want you to think about that for a second. Before this last 7 months, or whatever it's been, 6,000 years, seems like 7 months. Before this 7 months, how many times do you remember the National Guard being pulled into an area for a long-term deployment to keep the peace? It's happened a few times, but not necessarily long-term. Maybe a week. The Rodney King riots come to mind. The Watts riots come to mind. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen often. And now they want to do it all the time. Why does he want to do that? This show of force, this constant show of force in these American cities, because he wants you to know that they're there and that they're at his beck and call and that they'll do whatever he says. That's what he wants. He wants you to know that the United States military is his. It's his military. They're his generals. Those are his troops. Those are his tanks. Those are his planes. Those are his battleships. We don't use battleships anymore. Those are his aircraft carriers and destroyers and cruisers and submarines. Those are the Mad Kings. That's the Mad King's army, baby. He wants you to know that they're there. He wants you to be scared of them. He wants you to think that, if I do one thing wrong, they're gonna gun me down here. And he wants you to get used to that because they know they're going to get their asses kicked if there's a free and fair election. They're going to get their asses kicked if there is a free and fair election. So why have a free and fair election? Why not intimidate people into not voting in the most democratic places there are? Major cities. I've long had a theory about democratic politics, liberal politics, and big cities. I think that if you're forced to interact with a whole bunch of people all the time, people from all walks of life, people who, many cultures mashed together, people who are not actually related to you. Remember, I'm from rural America. I know what rural America is like. It's a lot of people exactly like me. Only not like me. I'm talking white people. Anyway, democratic politics, liberal politics means you have to be cool with your neighbor. You have to be good, and you have to realize that we all deserve an equal share here. We all deserve an equal shake, not share. Shake, an equal opportunity, equal in so many ways. You don't want to deprive one part of the city so that your part does better, because you still have to live around those people. You still have to go to the places where everybody works. Like, I work at this place and they work at this place, and we share this place. We share this smaller place. And so liberal politics are more popular here because liberal politics, liberal policies are the policies of the many. We help each other out. We try to look out for each other. Rural policies are more like, leave me the hell alone. Rural politics, conservative politics are based off of leaving me the hell alone. So there's a big difference. Conservatives don't enjoy cities as much. They're crowded. It's the first thing they say. Oh, it's crowded. It's so crowded there. The traffic's bad. It's so crowded there. Everything's so expensive there. It's crowded. It's expensive. The traffic's bad. All of those are me problems. Me. All of those are me problems. It's expensive here. Yep. But you kind of get what you pay for. If you're in the middle of it, there's so much to do. There's so many different options that you can go be a part of. Your kids get to be raised in a melting pot of different influences and cultures and wonder. It's an amazing place to be a kid. And it's an amazing place to gain life experience as you grow up. I didn't. I got here as an adult. And I got to be honest, I missed out. So they want you, the regime, the Trump regime, want you to think that one of the things that goes on in the cities is that it's all crime-ridden. This helps out their rural base who already believe this. And it scares people in the cities. And they want you to stay indoors. And they don't want you to participate in things like protests or, God forbid, voting. That's what this is for. They're talking about putting people... It doesn't matter what pretext they're using, okay? And that's why what we're going to talk about, just hold on one second. It doesn't matter what pretext they're using. That's the goal, okay? To scare you. To use the United States military as the strong mafia, the strong-arm mafia goons of the regime, the Mad King, the mafia boss himself. Donnie T. Fat Donnie T. So, I wanted to talk about the new DEI today. What is DEI? Diversity, equity, inclusion? No, the new DEI. The one that they like. Distraction, exaggeration, and incitement. Whoa, Trent, what are you doing? I know, right? If you watch what this regime does all the time, most of it's projection for the record, all the time, they're distracting. They're pointing a finger at something and saying, look over there, squirrel. And they've gotten really good at it. They distract us all the time. Sometimes distractions can be good. Sometimes you need a little distraction. I need a little distraction from the everyday march of fascism into my life. I fucking hate that. I count the number of police officers and other law enforcement that I see on a day-to-day basis every time I go out on a little drive. And I do drive quite a bit. I drive every day to pick up my middle schooler now. I'm telling you, the police force is heavier now than I ever remember it being. They're out there. The feds are there. Immigration's Customs Enforcement, Border Patrol, they're there. This is Southern California, so there are a lot of Border Patrol agents here. I believe there are more Border Patrol agents in California than there are anywhere else. Makes sense. We have the busiest border crossing. It's wild to see these cops everywhere. I don't know exactly how much of an increase it is because it's not like I paid close attention beforehand. See, I don't break the law. I don't do things wrong anymore. Might have at one point, but I don't anymore. And I'll tell you, and even when I did, I wasn't that bad a guy. And I tell you, I never thought about it because I just think of them as people who are there to protect and serve. A little bit of a law enforcement presence is not necessarily a bad thing. I can tell you this. Exaggeration is the next one, by the way. They're distracting from all kinds of things. A little bit of distraction from bad things is not bad. But a distraction from things that are important, which is what they're doing, is bad. Okay? So if I sit down and, do a Sudoku or maybe play a video game, but like my favorite video game is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remaster. My original favorite video game was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. I loved the first one, but the second one was such an improvement. And then they remastered them and sent them back out into the world a few years ago. And man, I bought that thing up because it brings me back to that moment. Not only is the music great, but the gameplay is always fantastic. And for the record, it makes me feel like I'm back in my mid-20s, and I love that feeling. It's pretty damn cool. So that's one of the distractions I use. But the distractions that they're using are bad distractions. Bad distractions. Next up, they exaggerate. They're distracting, and then they also use this thing called exaggeration. When he stands up there, when the Mad King himself has his press conference on Monday morning, this Monday, I watched it. It was disgusting. He stands up there and he lies nonstop, just exaggerating the hell out of all kinds of crazy ass inflated numbers that aren't even real. Exaggeration. It's all bullshit. Just like the exaggeration that the protesters in downtown LA back in April were so out of control, we had to send 5,000 National Guard troops and Marines to control one city block in frickin' LA. Those people stood here and played fucking Candy Crush every day or Angry Bird. They did what are the modern mobile games? I don't know. They play these silly little games on their phones because they got nothing else to do. There's like 100 of them that actually protected the federal building, but it isn't like it was ever under any real danger. And the same thing happened in D.C. There was no reason for this massive deployment of National Guardsmen to the nation's capital. There's no reason for it. Crime year over year is down again, and this year in a big way, especially violent crime. D.C. has a crime problem traditionally, like historically. Traditionally is probably not a good word. Historically. But it has been trending in the right direction since COVID. And that's important. The trend is the most important thing. Sometimes modern policing actually works. Are, are new ways to police that are not as militaristic. The militaristic version of policing, like just show of force bullshit, it turns out it's not particularly effective. But if you show your police force as a part of the community that's there to help, to actually serve and protect, which is usually the motto of all of these police forces, you see, when those people are there to help the community, they get help from the community. Oh my goodness. And it becomes a symbiotic relationship. But if you're there to police the community in a militaristic way, look at us and be scared of us, well, we're not going to want to talk to you. We're not going to want to share our tips with you. We're not going to call the cops when we have problems because we don't want them showing up at our front door with guns. Okay? So, they've inflated and exaggerated the crime situation in D.C. And they use that as an excuse. You could say that's the other E. Distraction, excuse, incitement. Sure, it works. Maybe I'll change it to that. Distraction, excuse, incitement. I like that. They use it as an excuse. They use their exaggerated numbers, their exaggerated figures as an excuse to roll out these people, these National Guardsmen, into our cities. The idea here is to get to the I in DEI, to incite us, to incite the actual backlash that is going to allow them to start firing on civilians. They're trying desperately. They are the big guy in the bar that's poking you in the chest. Wait, am I the only one that's ever happened to? There's a big guy in the bar that's poking you in the chest, just trying to get you to take a swing at him so he can just rack you in the skull with a, what do you call those things? Pool cues. Man, I must be getting old. They're trying to incite the retaliation, the backlash. They're pushing us. And I want you to think for a second. Think with me. Way back when. Way the fuck back when. Way back when. I'm talking second week of January this year. Think about how horrible it was that nothing major was going on. You know what I mean? Nothing major was going on. Things are a little too expensive. We voted out Joe Biden because eggs were too fucking expensive. And when I say we, I voted for Harris, but we voted out. We as a country got rid of Democrats because groceries are too expensive. They're more expensive now, considerably, and they're about to get even more expensive on top of that. And that was what they really ran on. Look at how expensive everything is. These guys don't do anything to control prices. Well, here's the funny part. The government doesn't actually have a whole lot of power to bring prices down. They can increase prices by doing crazy shit like putting import tariffs on shit. They could do that. Oh, they are doing that. So that's going to have an inflationary repercussion. How about they really tear into the labor that's producing things, anything in this country, really go after like immigrants, really make immigrants not want to go to work, really make the undocumented immigrants, maybe make the people who came here seeking asylum or came here legally, temporary protected, and they got jobs and they're working and they're trying to do their part and they're following all the rules. We're going to go after them too. We're going to disrupt the entire labor force. You know what that is? That's inflationary. That's going to cause prices to go up too. All of the things that the Trump administration, Trump regime is doing are inflationary. They're breaking the system. The very thing that they ran on. I remember Trump saying, grocery. It's a word that no one uses. I love it. I might as well have invented the word grocery. I'm going to make the grocery price go down. No, he didn't. Made it go up. Everything is getting more and more expensive. They fucked with the labor of this country. They fucked with the imports into this country. It, of course, fucks with the exports of the country. We don't even think about that part of it. If another country is like, well, fine, then we'll put the same tariff on you on your goods coming to us. Well, we sell less goods to them. And, well, there you go. The demand's going down. Supply's going up. What is going on here? More fuckery. And here's the thing. They just fired the head of Bureau of Labor and Statistics. I'll get this. They just fired the head of the BLS for reporting bad jobs numbers. Now, this lady wasn't the one compiling the numbers. She's just the one that issues the report. The numbers are the numbers. And they're claimed that, well, they're outlier numbers, so they can't be right. Well, no, they're just outliers. If they're outliers, or they're showing you the real trend. That's what numbers do. That's the thing about numbers. If they're real numbers, sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they are indeed outliers. But usually they indicate trends. They tell you the truth. So now he's going to bring in this new guy. He's already decided on this new guy to head the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, a guy who has constantly railed against the very group that he's going to lead, claiming that they are partisan, that they are political, when in reality, they're just not. They're just not. Because just like every time the conservatives said, well, those fucking doctors are lying to you about vaccines. They're lying to you about COVID. They're lying to you about this. They're lying to you about that. Do you know what happens to doctors who lie to patients a lot? They don't stay doctors very long. You lose your license. You get put in jail because that's criminal. The same thing is true with accountants and people who process data. If your data is wrong all the time, you don't stay in the job very long. Well, it's partisan. They're lying. No, they're fucking not. You are believing the excuses of the distracting regime. The distracting regime that uses those excuses to incite you to action, just like he incited the riot in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. And the funny thing about the January 6th riot is he could have brought in the National Guard, who was right across the river in Virginia, to help bring order. But he didn't, did he? Because those rioters were his kind of criminals that agreed with him. So he left our Capitol Police to the wolves. He incited them to violence and he spurred them on. And for 3.5 hours, he watched the chaos from just down the street. And he did nothing. Because they were on his side. Those criminals were on his side. And what did he do when he became president again in 2025? The first day, he did a mass pardon for everybody who was a part of that. That insurrection, that violent attack on the seat of our government, pardoned them. That's okay. That's okay. People who had been convicted by juries, people who had pled guilty. People who were guilty of serious crimes. This man doesn't give a flying fuck about the crime rate in D.C. It's a distraction. It's an excuse for the distraction so that he can get to his incitement. It's all about Republicans and their DEI. If you think about it, it all makes perfect sense, doesn't it? These are difficult times. And there are days when I think for sure we are turning the corner, we're standing up, we're going to get there. We're going to make it. I think that the only chance we've got, and this is going to sound a little weird, the only chance we got is these off-year elections in Virginia and New Jersey. And I know that those are just state elections. I realize that. But if those off-year elections, those are happening this November for the record. If those off-year elections end in Democratic control across the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's not a state, it's a Commonwealth. And the state of New Jersey, we probably have New Jersey. All right. Virginia is right now, Glenn Youngkin's the governor. He's term limited. That's why he's not running again. If we can show them at the ballot box just how bad all this is, just how we actually feel about this. If we show them that if there is another election, and there has to be, right? That Republicans are going to take a bath. They're going to get waxed. We are going to kick their ass. If there's another free and fair election in this country, we are going to kick their asses. The fastest growing political affiliation in the United States is independent. And those independents come from either Republicans who are sick of what they're seeing. And there's a lot of buyer's remorse out there. People who have voted Republican in the past are looking at this going, I didn't want military on my streets. I didn't want tariffs on every fucking imported good in my life. I didn't want any of that. I didn't want a corrupt regime running this country and absolutely just robbing us blind. I didn't want more money poured into the fossil fuel industry. I didn't want a place where we just don't do vaccines anymore. But you're getting all of that. And there are Republicans who voted for this regime who are now like, oh, fuck, I wish I had not done that. There are non-affiliated people, independents, who voted for this regime who are now sitting there going, whoa, yeah, fuck that up. You were lied to. All of you were lied to. And you know what? We saw it coming because this guy does nothing but lie. We being me and, the Democratic Party. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we get lied to. Sometimes we want to believe. Sometimes we want to believe so badly that we let go of what we know to be true. Just because we want to believe something else. Republicans, a lot of people who voted Republican are now having buyer's remorse. They're really not happy about this. The independents that swung to the Republican Party, not by a lot, but by a bit, and that's enough. That's enough to push them over the top. They are definitely feeling buyer's remorse. Those polls, those don't tell lies. Those are the truth. Independents do not like what's going on. None of this is okay. They wanted freedom. And what they're getting is fascism instead. This is not a good swap. And then there are Democrats that are leaving the Democratic Party to register as independents because they're mad at the leadership. And that is perfectly understandable. Democrats poll terribly because Republicans hate them because it's in their blood. Independents are mad at them for the same reason Democrats are mad at them. They're not fighting back enough. And even if you have no fucking power whatsoever, we expect you to be in front of the cameras and be as fucking pissed off as we are. As pissed off as we are that they're cutting Medicaid, that they're cutting supplemental nutritional assistance, food stamps for children and the impoverished. We should be pissed off that the Republican Party is okay with the military in the streets of America under the control of a drunken, womanizing Pete Hegseth and the guy who continues to hide the Epstein files from everybody, Donald Trump. The man who has never accepted accountability or responsibility for anything that has gone poorly on his watch ever. Ever. It is a sign of the character of a person, whether or not they're able to accept when they've made a mistake and to accept responsibility and accountability for that. He can't do that. It's wild. It's wild. So people are mad at Democrats with good reason, because Democratic leadership is not showing that they're as pissed off as the base. Man, there are a lot of imperfect warriors. I consider myself among them. You got to take any allies you can get in a fight like this. This is existential. This is the country that we're leaving to our kids. This is the country that we're leaving to the little children that we're raising right now. The military in the streets. The next pandemic right around the corner with people who don't believe in science or medicine at the helm. That's happening. That's happening. People who don't believe in climate science, burning our world, the whole planet, to a crisp so that they can squeeze one more fucking dollar out of us. To what end? What good is the world if you destroy it while you rule it? We should be protesting every day. There should be boycotts constantly. We have got to organize better. We have got to fight back better. We've got to get some sort of leadership that's in there actually duking it out. Showing us how to fight, how to stand up, how to speak out. We need that. I don't have those answers. What the fuck do I know? Sorry about that, by the way. Here you guys are listening to me and I'm downgrading my own voice, my own words. I shouldn't do that. Any voice in opposition can say something that brings the next change. Any voice in opposition can have the effect of ringing a bell that everyone hears. Any voice in opposition is a good voice in this moment. I'm far from a perfect messenger, but if I can say, the new DEI is distraction, excuses, and incitement, and it catches on, holy shit, maybe I just made the next t-shirt that we should all be wearing. You could do that if you want. You can make that if you want. Just send me one. That's all I ask. Send me one so I can wear it. The distractions are going to keep coming. They want to distract us from all of the super bad shit they're doing, which, oh, balls, man. There's some really, 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 really gross things that are happening behind closed doors. There are some really gross things that are happening in the courts. There are some really gross things that are happening in plain sight. But the distractions are working, honestly. The excuses to do whatever they want, you can ignore those. It doesn't matter. They're just excuses. When they say we're going to put National Guardsmen on the street to police DC because crime is rampant, no, it's not. Just ignore it. They want to put those people there to scare you. They want to put those people there as a show of force. They want to show off their muscles. They want to show off their strength because that's what fascist regimes do. That's all they know. Leadership through fear. Leadership through incitement. That's the I. Leadership, they want to incite not just the backlash, which will allow them to take even more extrajudicial steps to keep us in line, but also to incite their own base. To keep those people who believe in them no matter what. The true believers in the cult. We have to keep them. We have to keep throwing them red meat. Because without them, shit breaks down pretty quick. If the Democrats can pull off huge victories in Virginia and New Jersey this election season, then maybe, just maybe, The memo will get out to the Republican Party that tying yourself to Trump and becoming a sycophant, becoming a rubber stamp for everything he wants to do is absolute toxin to your future. And that's what it is. And keep in mind, 79-year-old Trump won't be around forever. 79-year-old Trump won't be around forever. He's already past the life expectancy of an American male. He has a terrible diet. He doesn't actually exercise. Sure, he swings a golf club, but he also takes a golf cart everywhere. So whatever. He's still a fat fuck. He tells you he's 6'3", he weighs 224 pounds. He does not. He does not. He's closer to 300 pounds than he is to 224. And don't even believe that bullshit. This is the same guy who fired the head of Bureau of Labor Statistics for not telling him that the jobs numbers were right. So do you think he's going to let a doctor stick around that tells him, well, you're 290 pounds and you should probably lose a few lbs. Probably should lay off the fucking McDonald's and the Diet Cokes. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm the Mad King, get out. Yeah, that's what he would do. He'd fire his doctor for giving him bad numbers like his cholesterol. Could only imagine what that is. I'm guessing this guy is on such a rich cocktail of pharmaceuticals. He's half chemical at this point. He's not going to be around forever. And when he is, who's going to take up the mantle? Johnny Dickhead Vance? That guy's as unpopular as colonoscopies. He's awful. Every time he talks, he gets more gross to me. And even the Republicans don't like him. He can't be trusted. I don't think any of them can be trusted. You went along with this, you can't be trusted. You don't believe in this. You don't believe in the American experiment. If you go along with Trump, you don't believe in it. That's the thing. Continued support of Donald Trump, it's no longer partisan. It's no longer political. It is actually a statement about who you are as a human being, that you don't believe in equality, that you don't believe in justice, that you don't believe in fairness, that you don't believe in goodness. Continued support of Donald Trump and the Republican Party is a sign that you are out for you and only you and people exactly like you. And the rest of us can all burn in hell for all the difference it makes to you. If you have somebody in your life that still supports Trump, I hope you cut them out like the cancer that they are. It's painful, but it's true. It's a statement about who you are now. And who you are if you continue to support this fascist growth. You're un-American. You're evil. It's just a fact. DEI is still around. It's just not what they say it is. It's distractions, it's excuses, it's incitements. And they're going to use it to burn us all down. Unless we wake up and fight back. That's going to do it for me for today. I appreciate all of you for hanging with me through these things. Man, it's hard to do it, isn't it? You're sitting there going, you're such a fucking downer, bro. I feel you. I feel you. I do. I try to, inject a little chuckle every once in a while, but it's all facts. Power off. My speaker turned off. It's all facts. I'm not bullshitting you. I wish more people would stop bullshitting us. The mainstream media needs to do its job. Independent media needs to do its job. Media needs to do its job. Tell us the truth, unvarnished and with context, because we need that. And if we get it, we can make good decisions. That's what it's all about. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following me. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Old Man Trent. I did post several things. I'm sharing more stuff. That's my promise. I'm going to continue to do that. Follow me over on Blue Sky. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to hang. It's a good hang. Also, share this with a friend. Send me a message. Do one of those reviews. Say, hey, I listen to this thing on my way home sometimes. It's jarring. I'll take that. 5 stars for jarring. Appreciate it. You guys are part of my therapy because I've got to get all this stuff off my chest. And I appreciate you being there to help me out and help each other out and help out the people who need help, because that's the real measure of us as humans. So I'll be back before you know it. And in the meantime, please be good humans. It's the least we can do. Till then, love you.